Hi, everybody. Hopefully this is working here and you're all seeing me. We are going to be going over some final order cutoff stuff. My name is Brandon. I am here at home, kind of taking some time and going through things that we will need to set final orders for on Sunday, as well as on this coming Thursday for DC stuff. We have Batman here. That's pretty cool. I always love when Batman's around. And we've got a few things to go over. So we'll see how we can get through all of this. All right, so going through the final order cutoffs. We're starting at Image as we usually do. We've got Aria, which is actually an older book from back in the day, but it's making a return to Image Comics with Brian Holguin, who has been doing a lot of interesting artwork lately and working with a lot of mixed media stuff, including doing some digital enhancement for his comics, which is pretty cool. You'd like hold your phone over a page and then you can pop things out. It's really cool. He's going back to his Aria concept. And I'm just going to read here. Lady Kildare, expatriate princess of Fairy, is living a life of aristocratic decadence among the Victorian London's social elite. One night, while slumming among the city's notorious underbelly, Kildare and her companions come across an illicit underground sideshow boasting creation's most wonderful and perverse curiosities. The centerpiece of this bizarre menagerie, a genuine angel held in capacity. Oh, doing great with words today. Captivity. You don't need to read any of the other Aria stuff to do this. It's got, oh, look here, Joe Quesada cover. You might know him as one of the people in charge of Marvel Comics, like way up above in Marvel Comics, but he used to be an artist. Well, still is an artist. Just has other priorities right now. And he did the art for Kevin Smith's Daredevil run. It was probably what he's most famous for a lot of people. And yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting stuff, including a J.D. Jones cover. That's some heavy hitters to kind of go through there. All right. The second issue of Haha is coming down the pike. Haha really hit hard with the comics reading audience. The first issue, the first printing of it, so that incredibly fast. It's from the writer of Ice Cream Man. We talked about the second print of the first issue last week. It's basically a clown horror anthology series. This one actually has art by Zoe Thorogood, who does The Impending Blindness of Billy Scott, a small press book that concerns a young woman who knows that she's going to go blind and how she wants to spend the last days of her sight. But this one has, as you can see here, every boy and girl needs a mama like a puppy needs a bowl. The Funny Sad Clown series for the Funny Sad Clown world continues with this mother and daughter trip, illustrated by Zoe Thorogood. It's basically going to be weird and dark and sad, like clowns tend to be. All right. Just stopping briefly on the Walking Dead deluxe comics that they're doing in full color. They do not plan on collecting these at this moment. Now, I feel like they will eventually, but they are taking the Walking Dead series, putting them in full color with brilliant art, color art by Dave McCaig. They are many issues ahead of where they have been in the past. And sorry, I just got a message from Danica that I will check later. if she ends up watching this later. Hi. But yeah, the Walking Dead Deluxe series not only has full color versions of The Walking Dead, but cutting room floor stuff on the back from Robert Kirkman that actually shows his notes for the issue, what didn't make it in, what changed from his original plots, and a little bit of context for the series. It is great for people who want to dig into process stuff in terms of writing. And I've really been enjoying a lot of the backup stuff because I've read a lot of the earlier Walking Dead stuff. I did stop around the end of the prison, issue 50, and it went to issue 144. I checked in every now and then. So it's going to be interesting to go with that series until there. Alrighty. Something that some people might not know of because we haven't really done these before. Stranger Things is doing a Dungeons and Dragons crossover. It's been really cool. At this point, I would suggest that people wait for the trade paperback instead of going to the back issues, although we probably do have the back issues at the store. But yeah, nice 4-issue series with the kids from Stranger Things playing some D&D. Really cool. Young Hellboy is coming back. It's basically Tales of a Young Hellboy, the little boy who loves him some pancakes. If y'all don't know about the Hellboy pancake story, it's probably one of my favorite comic stories about young Hellboy who experiences pancakes for the first time, and then the forces of darkness that brought him into the world are just like, oh my god, he's lost to us. He won't do evil. He's had pancakes. It's wonderful. Anyways, there's some young Hellboy stories happening. Probably getting in on that young adult market, which is being really good right now. Speaking of young adult market, Johnny Boo for the kiddos. Just a beautiful, fun, goofy series about a young ghost who gets up to shenanigans. The DC stuff, we're not going to be looking at this stuff here because for whatever reason, Diamond has been putting up some DC final order cutoffs the last little while. They don't carry it here in Canada. They carry it in the UK, basically. And as you can see here, they're doubling up on things. Super weird to see there. But don't matter. I know a lot of people have been wondering, hey, where's the next issue of Black Widow? Black Widow is coming back. It's going to be the 3rd week of February, which is what these final order cutoffs are for. And one of the reasons for the delay is when you get into holiday shipping time, if you don't hit your deadline, you're going to be late. Now, obviously, this is a little later than usual, but that's the end of the first arc. You're going to see what happens with the weird sort of, actually, it is a very WandaVision turn where Natasha has this domestic life that she's kind of been brainwashed into, ? It's been a really interesting story. This Black Knight #1 facsimile. Black Knight is coming back during the King in Black era. Cy Spurrier is writing the Black Knight stuff, and Cy Spurrier is one of our favorites. This is a facsimile printing of the first appearance of the Black Knight, so if you want shot-for-shot reprint, other than sort of like the legal information that you kind of need and the price point, you're going to find a nice, interesting bit of archival work with Black Knight facsimile #1. What else do we have coming up here? These Marvel vs. Alien covers have been pretty decent and have been getting people's attention. For a bigger collection, we've got the Heroes Reborn omnibus coming up for the era where Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld had control over Captain America, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and Iron Man. It's a pretty wild point in time, and a very interesting story that we might get into on another podcast or streaming thing. If you want to learn more about that Heroes Reborn era and like how it came that Marvel just seriously handed off some of their most popular characters to outside companies, to people basically contracting other companies to do the work, then yeah, we'll do that. Neil says, I was hoping to see some DC. You will. We're just not going through the diamond one. We're going to be doing the lunar one later, and we will open up that at the end because those have a different F.O.C date, and we're going to be looking at a different site for those. So we will be doing that. And he says, I want that Batman next Batman for Jim Lee cover. Of course. Yeah, we're going to make sure that happens for you. But let us know if you want that instead of the cover A or in addition to the cover A. You get to your same story, but I know sometimes you kind of... Collecting is a hell of a thing. Collecting is a hell of a drug, my friend. And you might want both. Immortal Hulk Flatline is finally going to see the light of day. It's another one shot. This time not done by series writer Al Ewing, but all of it art and writing by Declan Shelvey. It says, every morning Bruce Banner wakes up in a new place. The Hulk has been trying to tell him something, but Bruce has had enough of his green-veined alters. When a new gamma-powered villain shows up in a small New Mexico town, Bruce is forced to confront the source of his anger, and it's not what you expect. Immortal Hulk has been doing this amazing kind of body horror style storytelling with the Hulk. That's been absolutely phenomenal. These one-shots, Jeff Lemire wrote one a little while back, have sort of explored that type of storytelling with different creators, and it's been some pretty cool stuff. I should probably hide this. I went to the other screen to look at some stuff. So boop, 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 and forgot that I left that up. All right. Second issue of Iron Fist Heart of the Dragon is out. It's a Larry Hama penned Iron Fist story that has little baby dragons and some weird stuff with dragon hearts and babysitting. I know it sounds a little weird, but it's basically like this beautiful kung fu story, or at least kind of Marvel style kung fu story that has a quest involving dragon hearts and a young character that has been recently added to the Iron Fist mythos, and yeah, it's a lot of fun to get into. King in Black continues with a new issue. It's just been Marvel's big Venom story coming to a head, really taking over the entire Marvel universe. It's you didn't have to read a lot of the Venom stuff to get into it, but it sure does help with some context stuff. But yeah, it's the latest punch 'em up. If you want issue 4, you have to let us know, because as we've talked about in other venues before, we're not doing shelf copies for most things, if not all things, past issue 3. So it'll be very tight, maybe one for shelf, maybe, just because we have some folks who do that. This was actually announced today. Oh, and I need to message somebody to let them know that we can actually get this cover. The King in Black Gwenom versus Carnage second printing cover. It's looking pretty good. I think a lot of people will want this. If you want this cover, let us know, because we do have first prints. And so we'll be doing pretty tight for the second cover variant. Yeah, I'll have to message somebody back and let them know that this is not a retailer exclusive cover, that it was just recently announced, and go from there. There's not a whole lot of number ones here. So we're not really stopping for a lot of these, but please know that if you see something and you're like, oh, I want that, you should probably let us know before Sunday, because otherwise we're pulling from shelf if there's shelf. And you do not get your discount for things that you let us know about after the final order cut off. X-Men Legends is a new ongoing series that pairs some classic X-Men writers and artists with characters to tell brand new stories. This one has Fabian Nicieza with Brett Booth doing some art. And it says, break out the yellows and blues, fire up the danger room, and snap on your pouches as legendary X-writers return to classic eras of the mutant superheroes in all new in-continuity stories set during their fan favorite runs. Fabian Nicieza kicks off the series with a special saga of Cyclops and Havoc as Shi'ar return to Earth in search of the Forsaken One. But what secret will the Summers brothers uncover, and how will its revelation change what you thought you knew about the X-Men? So that's going to be an interesting tale right there. It's got a few different covers for you. If you see any covers on here, they are not qualified covers. They do not show the qualified covers on here, which I appreciate. So if there's anything cool that you see, definitely let us know. Dynamite is up to their old tricks with the gajillion covers. That's what, 11 non-qualified variants for Dynamite. Here's another like huge batch for Red Sonja, Price of Blood. The stories are good for folks who like you some Red Sonja, some Vampirella, some Vampirella spinoff, which is what Sacred Six is. But it's a lot of stuff. So if you go to, as you can see, or wait, can you see that? No, you can't. Previewsworld.com/final orders due. You can see all these covers. Let us know which ones you want. And we can go from there. Boom Studios, they keep not showing the single issues in the Boom Studios thing, so we'll get to those a little bit later. Like Abbott. The second series started for Abbott. Such an amazing series about a reporter in the 70s who is dealing with systemic racism and weird occult stuff. It's a brilliant series as by Saladin Ahmed and Sami Kivelä. They've done astonishing work together on the first series. They're continuing that here. And Neil is saying, as always wondered how to say Fabian Nicieza's name. I'm pretty sure that is accurate. I have watched a bunch of, or sorry, not watched, I listened to a bunch of podcasts and have heard the name said enough times by people who would know. So that is cool. We've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer Faith one-shot. For those of you who don't know, the Buffy the Vampire series coming up from Boom right now is a reimagining of the original lore through the lens of Jordi Belair, who is a fantastic writer and colorist for comics. It takes sort of like classic tropes that you know from the Buffy the Vampire series and presents them in very new, interesting ways. Characters show up early, characters have different trajectories, and Willow in particular kind of knows who she is kind of from the jump, which is a really good bit of business that they put together. This one follows Faith as if she comes into this version of the Buffyverse. It's been some really cool stuff. I'm really excited for some more Courtney Crumrin. This one is a reprint of some older stuff, but Courtney Crumrin is coming back. It is an amazing series for young adults who are looking for some magical tales, but sort of with a bit of a darkness that you would find, say, with a Goonies, where there's some palpable danger and just good characterization. For those of you walking around lost in the wilderness looking for a less problematic Harry Potter, this is the series that you want to latch onto and explore, because you're gonna get a lot of these feelings, a lot of this lived-in world, but maybe without some of the problems of the creator. The Expanse series is continuing. I've been loving the comics. I have not watched the TV show. This one is tied in with the TV show with plotting from the series creators, who go by the pen name James Comey. There's more to their names, and they don't actually show it when I click through on the thing. Anyways, yeah, that's a good, a wonderful series to get into. We've got Forever Home, the original graphic novel. Very excited about this one. It is, as it says, a new middle grade graphic novel for fans of Sheets, which was a big comic that came out a while ago, about a girl named Willow who's got two parents in the military and has lived a nomadic childhood that's made it seem impossible to find a place that she can call home until now. When the family arrives at their latest stop, the historic Headley house, Willow encounters something that doesn't help her chances of staying put: ghosts. Headley's house spectral occupants have been scaring off would-be residents for decades, and they intend to keep the house from themselves, but Willow is not about to let some nagging spirits force her to move for the millionth time. It's just a matter of convincing Willow's parents that this old house is the one for them, ghosts and all. So a wonderful series about finding some roots and ghosts. Oh, Girlhaven is going to be a really good one coming out very soon, by Lela Sturgis and Megan Carter. 3 years ago, Ash's mom, Kristen, left home and never came back. Now Ash lives in the house where Kristen grew up. All of her things are there: her old room, her old clothes, and the shed where she spent her childhood creating a fantasy world called Curatrice. I might have talked about this last week. I think this might actually be a final order cutoff, because I remember trying to pronounce the name of that place. But yeah, it's Ash knows all about Curatrice, how it's a haven for girls with no men or boys allowed, and filled with fanciful landscapes and creatures. When Ash's friends decide to try going to Curatrice using one of Christian's spell books, Ash doesn't think anything will happen, but the spell works, and Ash discovers that the world that Kristen created is actually a real place with real inhabitants and real danger. It's going to be a good one for folks who are, again, kind of like trying to find some identity. Hollow Heart is another one that I'm really excited about, because Vault is turning out some amazing stuff. You can see all the different covers here, including a incentive David Mack and a foil David Mack. Those ones are going to run a little bit more. I did say that incentives don't pop up on here. I guess I lied, but they usually don't. But what we have here is L used to be human, and now he's a jumble of organs in a biosuit. L is also in tremendous pain and has been for a very long time. Hope arrives in the form of Mateo, a mechanic brought in to work on L's suit. Mateo sees L in a way that no one ever has, and what's more, Mateo offers L an escape. Hollow Heart reunites tech creators Paul Allor and Paul Tucker for a queer romance monster love story about the choices we make between giving our loved ones what they want and what we think they need. So a beautiful series coming up. I think that, if I remember, that might be everything except for a couple of things here. Savage from Valiant, from Max Bimis. You might know him as the lead singer of Say Anything. And artist Nathan Stockman. Teenage heartthrob, feral social icon, dinosaur hunter, born and raised on the uncharted island full of prehistoric dangers. Kevin Savage has a taste of home when a mutant dino threat invades England. And yeah, that's an upcoming Valiant series. You don't really need to know much more about the character, but that's kind of the crux of it. There's a second printing available for Serial. We do still have first prints for those who want it. So if you want a second print, please let us know. Shadow Doctor, with cover art by Mark Chiarello. He used to be the DC art director before he was let go, I think, a couple years ago. And this one says, years in the making. This is the true story of writer Peter Calloway's grandfather, Nathaniel Calloway, a black man who graduated from medical school in the early 1930s, unable to get work at any Chicago hospitals because he was black, and unable to secure a loan from a bank to start his own practice because he was black. He turned to another source of money in Prohibition-era Chicago, the Mafia, run by none other than Al Capone. As Calloway himself says, on the one hand, his story represents the promise of America. On the other hand, it shows the worst of it. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating comic book series to dig into. Real lived-in experience. And I believe with that, that's everything from a Diamond. We don't do the trading cards and merchandise stuff, so we're going to skip past that. And we're going to see if we can share another screen here. So bear with me. In the future, I'm probably going to... Oh, yeah, good. I did that exactly like I wanted to. Bear with me as we do that. Simone says, Expanse, James S.A. Corey, two authors. One is George R.R. Martin's assistant. Yeah, absolutely. I've got the 8 books that they've written. I really admire them as creators, as they grow, as they're confronted with maybe their shortcomings of experience. They've done it not only with their books, by including some non-binary characters as they go along, but with the TV show, with having people with different body types, having been confronted with sort of like things that they were told they had some shortcomings on, and growing as people, taking in the information and being like, hey, well, you know, it actually doesn't harm anything to have some broader representation and put that forward through, and really internalizing that and growing as creators. You can actually see that too with the show versus the books, where they soften some things that might not have played too well as the years have gone on, and will in general, because what the years have gone on to prove is that we should be kinder to everyone's experiences. And so I greatly admire them, and that's why I really love the Expanse. And Simone follows up with flat characters but amazing world building. I will agree with you entirely. I love the lived-in world. I love the thought that's put into it, and how different actions by different characters who might have, you know, certain worldviews can sort of switch things in a larger scale on an axis. So it's been loving the books. Need to get into the series, but I know if I start watching the series, I won't read the books as much, and I really want to kind of dig into that properly. And Neil says, I am a mutant dino threat. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you are. And I will just pop up the DC stuff. Let's see if this works. Boop, ba-doop, boop. Because sometimes it says, hey, we can't do that, like now. And we just try again until it works, and we vamp until something happens. Click. Ha! Take that, world. All right. So you will see here that it says select final order cutoff date, and it says January 31st. That's a bit of a misnomer. The way that we get our DC Comics up here, our final order orders are due on Thursday. There's a long story to that, but basically the short end of it is we go through a retailer or distributor called Universal that goes through Learner at DC's approval. And we are huge backers of Universal. They have been incredible to us. They have had the best service we've ever gotten for single issue distribution. And I know that's not saying much because the alternative is more or less Diamond, or kind of like self-creators who are just putting out their own stuff, which takes a while to get through, especially if you're doing like customs and whatnot. Universal has been amazing, but the caveat is our final order cutoffs are due earlier until we can convince DC to make them full direct partners with shipping single issues. No word of a lie, we looked it up. The place that DC prints their comics from is about a half-hour drive away from where Universal's headquarters in Montreal are for shipping comics. It is weird and bizarre that they ship the comics all the way to the States to Lunar and all the way back when it's half-hour drive away from where these comics are printed. We are pushing that. And Simone also says, read first. Yes, absolutely. And it is happening. I'm half contemplating audiobooks because I do a lot of driving, and it will get me a little bit further, and then sort of like mix and matching both to kind of get through them, because they're dense, and there's so much that we need to read, including comics. So things to look out for: Batman's Grave, the complete collection. It is the Brian Hitch drawn series. The first issue I was head over heels over. There's a scene wherein Alfred, who's gotten a little tipsy, and Bruce comes home at night, and he says, like, and he's basically like, hey, what are we doing? Like, you go out and you hit people, you have all this money, like, why do we do it like this? And Bruce is like, hey, that's not what it's about. And Alfred actually really takes him to task. This Batman's Grave is an exploration of Batman, slightly out of continuity, but like all of these stories are fictional, so all of them mean whatever you want them to mean. I took Batman's Grave to heart, that opening, because it does really explore the problems with the Batman character while also celebrating Batman as a character. Really great. The Future State stories are continuing. We actually just received our product for next week. So we have the first issues of Aquaman, Batman, Superman, the third issue of Dark Detective, and more as we kind of scroll over. Some fantastic tales from some fantastic fresher voices. The Batman Superman one is actually, when it continues, is still going to have the writer of Jean Luen Yang. Ooh, does this actually show when I click on them? Oh my goodness, this is awesome. I can actually show you these things. I wish that the Diamond website did that instead of kicking out a different page. So he's going to continue on Batman, Superman after this and explore the multiverse of these characters in different contexts. So this one does take place in the future and does some weird stuff, but that's what's going to go forward. Let's take a look more here, because we can. Haha! These are US prices, by the way, just a heads up on that. The world's greatest detective must try and inhabit the mind of a murderer victim to solve a case without filling the empty grave next to those of his parents. Can Batman imagine the life of a corpse with a half-eaten face without dying himself? Yeah, it's a weird, dark book too. A man was murdered, and the Batman knows how it happened. All he has to do is survive his own deduction. So it's a great great little series there. And yeah, most of these others are continuing. This is another one to take a look at because Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to be taking over the Superman books. Superman, specifically Action, apparently in the future is going to have a different writer, but for now he is taking over all of them. Scott Godlewski is also going to be, I believe, drawing Superman with him. So this is sort of like a sneak peek at his future. Superman Worlds of War was by Philip Kennedy Johnson was actually my best of pick this week because while we do get some good beefy Superman fights, of the bulk of the main story that he writes is about how Superman functions and what a lack of Superman would do to that society that has come to rely on him as a symbol of hope and what they've meant to him, or and he is meant to them. And it's some beautiful stuff. So I have high hopes for the Superman line going forward. And this is another part of it. But as a one shot, a lot of folks might miss it. So good to check out there. The Tower of Babel is a classic Justice League story. You don't really need more than what's included in here. But basically, it's the story of how Batman has gathered a whole bunch of intel on the Justice League and has had plans to take down all of them. But when those plans fall into less moral hands, the Justice League is rightfully upset that one of their friends has been basically gathering intel on how to take them down. There's a big story there that is really fascinating. This John Constantine Hellblazer Rise and Fall is by Tom Taylor, with art by Derek Robertson. It's a story about how billionaires start falling from the sky, and it involves, like, you know, your sort of like angels and demons stuff, your occult stuff. But does John Constantine really want to help out these people? Like, they tend to be garbage humans, and it's this nice give and take series that is definitely very, very Hellblazer, very Constantine. Speaking of Constantine, the second volume of the recent John Constantine Hellblazer volume that took place in the Sandman universe is coming out. This series was remarkable, super relevant to modern social issues, with a thick horror bent that really, really sunk its teeth into different issues that we have, but presenting them in sort of that darker format. And I think that's almost it. Metropolis Grove is a new DC All Ages graphic novel from the writer-artist of Catstronauts, Astronauts Who Are Cats. Those books have gone over extremely well at our store. We're very, very excited for Metropolis Grove, which is basically about young kids who live in a world with Superman and kind of what that would feel like and what that would look like. Super, super awesome. And the Teen Titans Raven, the biggest smash hit of DC's YA line, is coming out with a hardcover, which will be perfect for libraries. I know they like some more durable product, and that one's coming out soon. Yeah. All right, that will do it for this week's episode. I always try and make them short. They always end up being really long. Thank you all for watching. We're going to be building on this in the future. I've got a couple of ideas that might be really cool to go with. And yeah, might be talking to some creators maybe if we can kind of get our ducks into a row. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And the next time you will see us online, we won't be streaming live, but we are coming back with Yeggs and Bacon. That goes up Mondays at 8 a.m. That's going to be our pop culture morning talk show. where we're going to talk about some of the latest stuff in pop culture things. That comes back on Mondays, and will be going out as our podcast once again. And as always, you can find us doing Your Local Comic Show live streaming on Tuesdays at 8:10 p.m., where we go over the new comics that are coming out and graphic novels that are coming out that week, along with usually another topic or two. And then starting in February, twice a month on Thursdays, we're going to be doing more of a live pop culture feed. So for folks who are interested in that. Thank you all for watching. I would like you to know that any of the stuff that you saw on Diamond, we would like those orders in by Sunday at 5 p.m. Any of the orders from DC, you have until Thursday at 7 p.m. That's when we start trying to collate all of those and getting them off to our distributors so that you don't miss your favorite books. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you again either on those times or here next week. All right, bye.